difference between games and other forms of media is a pretty interesting one, and while games can obviously be unique and different in all sorts of ways, it's fascinating to see what can happen when they take inspiration from another medium. So that said, let's talk about games that take inspiration from cinema. We have games that feel like TV shows, such as Telltale's episodic masterpieces, and games which are straight up adaptations of films or books. This group of games, though, is something different. Some of them are working to incorporate the cinematic look into their games, by using an intentional art direction to get a game to look like it was shot on film for the big screen. Take The Order 1886, for example. Developer Ready at Dawn said that achieving this kind of constant cinematic escapism is what they thought defined a next-gen game, rather than high-definition graphics at 60 frames per second. The cinematic look of games may be easier to achieve given the current state of technology, but we've also seen a bunch of games take on a cinematic style in the way that they tell stories. Take Metal Gear Solid, for example. This series has always been infamous for its many lengthy cutscenes. Metal Gear has one continuous epic story to tell, and much like watching all the Harry Potter movies in the space of a week, playing through the series feels like you're along for one big convoluted ride. Although Metal Gear creator Hideo Kojima expressed his interest to make the cutscenes more interactive as the series progressed, and wants to minimize cutscenes in the next installment, The Phantom Pain, there's no denying that the Metal Gear series wears its cinematic inspiration on its sleeve. James Bond films and Escape from New York are the most obvious in an endless list. Metal Gear Solid takes their epic secret espionage action mission tropes as gospel, and recreates them with polygons and sprites. The characters of Big Boss and Solid Snake were basically directly lifted from Sean Connery and Kurt Russell. And what better way to perfectly capture all those juicy double crossings, conspiracy theories, and dastardly plans to take over the world, as well as those classic films. Lots of cutscenes, of course. Metal Gear Solid actually holds a Guinness World Record for the longest cutscene sequence in gaming, sitting at 71 minutes. Although when you're capping off a story that spans over 10 games, that's not too bad. If you were to take a Metal Gear Solid game and get rid of all the awesome gameplay sections, the pacing, delivery, and narrative structure would still let you have a pretty good time. In fact, Konami did just that. A cutscene-only version of Metal Gear Solid 3 was included as a bonus feature for the game's Subsistence re-release. You see a similar sort of cinematic implementation with games like Uncharted and Heavy Rain. Uncharted is, let's face it, basically Indiana Jones with a slightly hotter protagonist. As for Heavy Rain, although it features a branching narrative, its carefully crafted cinematography and method of storytelling, which paced itself similar to film while still being flexible, is prevalent throughout the game. And finally, cinema has invaded gaming not simply in how it looks or how the story is being told, but also who is being cast in the title roles and how performance is captured. David Cage has taken a shine to casting big-name actors in original roles within his games, most recently casting Ellen Page and Willem Dafoe in Beyond Two Souls, Quantic Dream's latest quick-timey creation. The massively cinematic L.A. Noire prominently starred Aaron Staton from Mad Men, and frickin' Kevin Spacey was in Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, for God's sake. These games, and many others like them, move beyond voice work and also utilize motion and facial capture technologies to try and accurately represent the likeness of the actors in order to fully embody the characters. You may not have recognized all the voice actors who worked on The Last of Us, well, apart from Troy Baker and not Ellen Page, but the well-written dialogue and spot-on performances were deemed to be so engaging, they performed it live on stage. Let me know if you reckon games can learn anything from movies, or if you even like games that go for that cinematic feel. Leave me your comments and I will catch you next week.